Hello, and welcome back to another Minecraft Let's Play video with me, Elven Dragon. So last episode we ended up building up a nether portal, got ourselves into the nether, and grabbed a few different things that we were going to need. We also went and dug out this space here inside one of the netherrack hills, and moved a portal in here and decided that this was going to be our little basing area when we're out here in the nether. And since then, as you can see, I've gone and decorated up this area here. So I went with blackstone warped logs for most of the floor. And I decided to accent that with some of our copper blocks. So we're just waiting for those to oxidize. But I did go ahead and get 2 piglins into cells here. Kind of mad at me right now because I don't have my gold helmet on. But all in all, I'm quite happy with how this is turning out. Obviously, since this is just kind of inside, we're not doing much with the netherrack on the outside, which is why we have this hill right here that is still netherrack. But all in all, I'm quite happy with how this is all turning out. Now back in the overworld, we still don't have everything quite lit up. We still don't have enough of our wool. I did go ahead and get enough sheep to refill our wool farm over at the main base, so we should be able to get more wool to be able to keep doing our plans here and just marking out where everything is. That little gas thing that we found looks like it's changed color here. Looks like it's smiling too, so still gonna keep an eye on that, see what it does. But it's not doing too bad. We're not doing too bad. Again, I wanna see what this does. Keeping my eye on it. But all in all, this isn't coming along too badly. We had a creeper blow up our little tent a little bit ago, so we are definitely going to have to get a few more torches. We'll just have to work on that, figure out what we're going to do, where we're going to put everything. Got pretty much 2 things that kind of are going to go out here. Got a melon and pumpkin farm to put somewhere and a mob farm to put somewhere. But while exploring this island, we did go ahead and find a cave that has a mine shaft in it. So we might eventually be able to turn that into a spawner farm, which will help us get enough experience to keep our tools and stuff repaired and start getting into some more enchanted book stuff. But we'll have to go and explore that at some point. Again, we don't have a whole lot of torches right now. So that's going to be a future project. Also have to go find which one it is. I think it's this one over here. Yes. You can kind of see it down there on the bottom. So we'll have to play around with that. Go check that out at some point. But today, what I'm thinking we're going to do is I want to reconnect these islands back up with the rest of our build areas, mostly so that we can go back and forth between this island here and the rest of the area, because I do want to get back into working on some of our other projects that we have going on. It's been long enough that I kind of want to get back into doing our floating islands back at the redstone pit, and there's still other projects around there that I want to work on. And also there's some other stuff that I want to make sure that we have over there as well. I did tell Puck that he needs to go and pick some of that stuff up, but who knows if he did or not. So I'm going to go get some stuff ready, and then I'll be right back. All right. So I went and gathered up a few materials that I think we're going to use for our tunnel. I wanted to stick with materials that we use that kind of fit our island here. And while I was doing that, our little dried gas turned into this little guy here. Like some cute sounds. We'll have to get one of these back at our main base. I like these guys. Kind of cute. But we've just got him tied up here so he doesn't run away from us right now. I've gone and gotten some oak logs and some light blue wool, as well as some regular stone that I think we'll use as stone brick walls, because that's how all of our nether tunnels are. And the reason for that is these are the materials we used for our house. So I think that's going to be a good idea to kind of represent this area. But we still have to dig that out. I just wanted to show off this new little gas thingy here that we got. So cute, it makes such cute little sounds. I'll have to find something to do with them and some way to keep him as a pet, because I don't want to keep him tied to our tent post forever. But for now, we've got another tunnel to dig. So for that, we just need to figure out where we're going to put it. So we've got a few spots. I think in that direction, we could actually just do this entirely enclosed because of how this area here functions. I was thinking of putting the storage for the trader there. So what I'm thinking is we could probably do something going back this way and maybe go over here. Not quite sure. I'll have to figure out something. I would like to keep this kind of enclosed in the netherrack. We can. This pillar here might not be a bad one to use. We'll have to go and do that. I do eventually want another exit over on this side, so maybe we can do that with the staircase up. Because we are going to need a staircase up in order to get up to the height of our nether hub. But I'll have to figure that out. We've got a lot of digging to do, and hopefully we don't run into too many lava pockets. Alright, and there we go. We've gotten all the way out to our main nether hub tunnel, and we haven't quite dug out the full tunnel all the way out to the end, because we don't quite have enough resources to completely finish the tunnel here. But what I've decided on is along our soul soil path, or what will eventually be a soul soil path, we'll have to go out to the Soul Sand Valley to pick up some of that, though I think we can trade with the piglins for that as well. We'll just put our stone bricks. On top of that, we're going to do polished tough walls. I had initially thought about doing the stone brick walls and having a different block underneath for the ridge of our running path, but I decided that the tough would be better since we already have stone brick walls along one of the other paths, and I'm kind of trying to keep each path having its own different wall along the side here. So instead we've gone with polished tough. I forgot to pick up my stone cutter, so we can't quite turn those into walls just yet. But for our actual walls along the side here, we're going to go with stone bricks down the side on the bottom. Those aren't really going to be seen too well with the tough walls, so that's fine. And then above that, what we're going to do is we're going to put in a layer of light blue wool. Now, most of these have some sort of light source along them to keep them lit up, which this doesn't have. So what I'm thinking is we can either put in lanterns along the side of the walls, if that's not going to hurt running along them too much. Or the other thing I thought about is we could put either sea lanterns, once we get those, or shroom lights behind glass. That way we kind of have like a window here, and then to mirror our house roof, we've got the copper. I have the chiseled copper since we made way too much of that for the floor of our little hub down there for exploration. But when playing around with this pattern here, I decided that it was too much for it to be all across the top. So instead, we have chiseled copper there, which I think looks really nice. Now this will eventually oxidize and it'll be a nice bright green like our house roof. And I think that'll work really, really well. The issue is, we don't have a whole lot of light blue wool. We've got plenty of copper right now. Hopefully we have enough to finish this tunnel. But I don't think we have enough of anything else to finish this tunnel, other than the stone bricks and the wood, because those are probably the two things we have the most of. So this will keep going on for a little bit. Again, I only kind of dug this out here so that we had enough for our little example section here for right now. Since, again, we don't have enough light blue wool, and in fact, we've pretty much exhausted all of the light blue wool that I have already, just with this little section here. I kind of like that. We don't have wool anywhere else in the Nether Hub, so that will kind of set this apart a little bit, and I think it'll work really well. And it kind of is meant to reference our house that we built and fit in with the island and kind of denote that this is our little survival island. Now, one thing that we do have to do once we break into our main hub here is we have to go ahead and put in the oak logs on the side here because all of our other tunnels have our logs on the sides. It does look a little weird with the crimson log right next to it, but it should be fine. And we can go ahead and get that opened up. And now we can just explore in here for a little bit. One thing I do want to do is I do want to make sure we have a chest in here. I don't think that will get stuck there. Okay, we'll have to figure something out. All those are going to go in there because those go with our nether hub. And what this will be for is for putting in our armor and tools and stuff for the island when we decide to leave the island. We can put in our armor and stuff for our other areas into there. So that'll help keep our island stuff separate from our regular gear. And then we won't lose our island stuff with our regular gear because that will happen if I start mixing them. Now for where this is, I'm not entirely certain. I know if we keep going this way, we'll hit the end. So if we're before Stardust Valley, which is that one there, we'll know. So it looks like we're between Stardust Valley and our main base, which is perfect. Don't know how close we are to our main base, but I think that will be good. It'll be nice and easy for us to travel back and forth between our various project areas and here until we extend this again at some point, which is a possibility depending on what we do. But all in all, I'm quite happy with how that island area has turned out, and I'm really glad that we actually have this now more or less fully connected in. We still need to do lots of nether tunnels on this area though. That'll be a future project. For now though, I'm going to use up the stuff that I have and go find us a stone cutter, probably just steal the one down below for that, and get this in as best we can. Again, we won't be able to get all the light blue wool in because we're kind of limited on the quantities we can get right now, but we can at least get most of the rest of the materials in. So I'm going to go grab those, try and gather up a bit more light blue wool so we can actually get more of this tunnel in, and then I'll be right back. All right, so we've gotten a good chunk of the oak and the copper in, or at least a small chunk of the oak and copper in, because I think we're at like negative 300 something. So we still have quite a ways to go, and this is definitely not going to cut it to get all the way down to the end. But this is about all we had resources for right now. Our inventory, at least what we didn't already take out from putting this in, is full of netherrack. And that's about as far as we can dig for right now. I forgot to grab extra oak logs and stone before we came back out here, so that's why those aren't in fully. But all in all, this is slowly coming along quite well, I think. Again, we just need to get our soul soil, and that's going to be a decent trip, since our gold stores are running a little low. But all in all, again, this is slowly coming along. It's just going to take a lot of time to dig this all the way out, and our tools are starting to look a little worse for wear. One thing I want to do is I want to get a little bit quicker way to get down from our tunnel here, because it is quite a ways down those stairs. And although there's not much we can do about it going up, we might be able to do something going down. So I'm going to have to go and get a slime block for that. But we should be able to put in a small little drop shaft right in the middle of our spiral staircase that we have. Unfortunately, it's not going to be perfect for that because I messed up while doing the staircase and turned in the wrong direction. So part of it isn't actually over the other part. So heading down the staircase here, if you go down far enough, you'll see this is supposed to actually turn right here, and instead we turned left. Don't know why, but it does mean that this part of the staircase is not in the same place as the rest of it and is not above it. So somewhere over about here-ish, but we'll have to play around with where this is actually going to... This should put it right in the middle of the other staircase, but we'll have to play around with the exact location at some point once we actually get all the wood pillars in, because I also want to align it with those. But before we get too far into that, we definitely need to get rid of some of our netherrack, get some of the rest of the materials that we need, and get that tunnel finished. But all that is going to have to wait for another time, because for now, I think that is probably going to be about it for today. And we've got a lot of stuff here, got a lot of netherrack to dig out, and a lot of wool to gather up. So I want to thank you all so much for watching. If you enjoyed the video, please leave a like and consider subscribing if you want to see more of what is going on these islands and in the rest of this world. And I will catch you all in the next one. Goodbye.